He was the kind that fixed your tire, then stayed for a prayer. Had dust on his boots.
Welcome back to Vibe
but love
Podcast.
in his
Today we're
stare.
conducting a critical analysis of the
Never
Brian
asked for
Harpole
much,
interview, a
just
topic researched for
place
us by
in the
David
choir.
Morgan. I'm joined by Charles and Angela.
Good day, Alice. Charles here. As a former SAS commander, I'm always keen to meticulously dissect any post-operation analysis, especially concerning security protocols and threat responses. My focus today will be on the command structure, training, and the tactical execution of the security detail.
And I'm Angela. My expertise lies in medical analysis, so I'll be looking closely at the reported injuries, the immediate treatment provided, and the medical procedures described, separating fact from the inevitable speculation that arises in such high-profile incidents.
Excellent. Let's dive straight into the text. We hear the interview started on a rather somber note, with Brian Harpole expressing frustration over the sensationalization of Charlie Kirk's assassination, making it impossible to find the truth. Charles, from a security standpoint, how problematic is this immediate rush to judgment and widespread speculation?
It's incredibly detrimental, Alice. In any critical incident, especially one involving a high-profile individual, the immediate aftermath is a storm of conjecture. This sensationalization, as Harpole calls it, not only obscures the true facts but also poisons the well for any proper, objective analysis. For those tasked with security, such noise can be a significant distraction, undermining trust and muddying the waters when clarity is paramount. Objective facts, verifiable intelligence, and meticulous reconstruction are what we seek, not emotionally charged narratives.
Absolutely, Charles. From a medical perspective, misinformation can be particularly damaging. Details of injuries, treatment, and cause of death are often distorted, leading to wild theories that simply don't align with medical realities. This makes it challenging for the public to understand the true nature of the event and can often disrespect the victim and those who tried to help.
Harpole goes on to describe his company, Integrity Security Solutions, and their unique vetting and training processes. Charles, you must have strong feelings about the selection and ongoing development of personnel in a zero-fail environment.
My word, yes. Harpole's description of their vetting process, requiring sponsorship, an undescript amount of time for training, and a collective thumbs up or thumbs down from the team, resonates deeply with the SAS ethos. It rightly prioritizes character and team cohesion over raw individual skill. Skills can be taught and refined, but integrity and the ability to operate seamlessly as part of a unit cannot. His emphasis on continuous, advanced training, far exceeding the 40 hours mandatory, along with unconventional elements like etiquette classes, demonstrates a truly holistic approach to preparation. That's a mark of genuine professionalism in a field where the consequences of failure are absolute.
The inclusion of emergency medicine in their ongoing training is particularly commendable. Harpole mentions it specifically, highlighting its importance. Having personnel trained not just in defensive tactics and firearms, but also in critical medical interventions, can be the difference between life and death in a high-risk situation. It's a vital component of holistic security.
The text details Harpole's strong refutation of claims connecting his team to foreign intelligence, specifically Mossad, or extreme political groups. He states, "We're Americans, period," and expresses a firm belief in their system. Charles, how important is such a clear, unequivocal stance in the face of such damaging rumors?
It's absolutely crucial. Baseless allegations of foreign intelligence ties or political extremism are not only defamatory, but can compromise the team's operational integrity and public trust. Harpole's unequivocal declaration, "To my death," coupled with his explanation of their focus on domestic threats and the sheer lack of time for such clandestine activities, is exactly the kind of resolute transparency needed. An elite security detail must be above reproach, and their loyalty and professionalism must be unambiguous.
Let's move to the pre-planning for the event. Harpole outlines a meticulous process starting weeks in advance, involving intelligence gathering, conference calls, and an app for real-time information sharing, operating on a decentralized command model. He also mentions Charlie Kirk's personal concerns about Israel and political affiliations. Charles, what do you make of their advanced work and the dissemination of threat intelligence?
The advance work Harpole describes is precisely what one expects from a competent security outfit. Starting on the 24th of the prior month, with hard conversations and intel sheets populated on an app for all team members, exemplifies robust operational planning. The decentralized command model, where any team member can make decisions for the client's betterment, is a high-trust, high-proficiency approach that demands exceptional individual judgment. However, the critical point here is the disconnect regarding Charlie Kirk's concerns about Israel. If he expressed these to media personalities but not to his security detail, that is a profound intelligence failure in the chain of command, regardless of whether those concerns proved credible. Security cannot address threats they are unaware of.
And while Harpole's team can't make the city provide an ambulance or a health officer, the UVU's alleged failure to coordinate with drone or SWAT support for Overwatch is deeply concerning, especially given the venue's inherent vulnerabilities.
Precisely, Angela. That's where external failure intersects with the security plan. The UVU's Chief Long's dismissal of rooftop concerns with an "I got you covered" is, frankly, appalling. It's an egregious dereliction of duty if those resources were not deployed. A secure perimeter, particularly in an open-air amphitheater like UVU, demands multiple layers, including robust overwatch. Private security firms often operate under significant legal constraints regarding armed observation points or drone deployment, relying on local law enforcement for that outer layer of protection. When that partnership fails, the zero-fail environment for the close protection team becomes exponentially more dangerous.
Harpole also mentioned they actually increased manpower for this event, going from 8 or 9 to 12 or 13 personnel, despite no specific articulable threat, just general world situation concerns. This was a proactive measure.
A wise decision. Over-resourcing for potential, rather than specific, threats is a fundamental principle of risk management in these environments. Their placement of vehicles and the physical setup with bike racks to create permeable and non-permeable zones demonstrates sound tactical thinking. And the detailed assignment of roles, from back cover to gatekeepers at the critical gap and plainclothes personnel working the crowd, looking for prey gaze or lack of socialization, these are hallmarks of a highly trained and disciplined team. Their philosophy of, look at less so you can see more, for their areas of responsibility is perfectly aligned with maintaining situational awareness.
Let's move to the immediate aftermath. The security footage apparently shows the shooter going unnoticed for a while before the shot was fired from 142 yards away. Harpole speculates that the shooter must have rehearsed, given the precise loophole shooting position. Charles, your thoughts on this?
The loophole Harpole describes, requiring such precise placement to achieve a shot, strongly suggests pre-planning and rehearsal, not mere chance. A 142-yard shot, while not impossible for a trained marksman, becomes far more challenging under the stress of infiltration and exfiltration, and the visual noise of a crowd. This isn't just a matter of marksmanship, it's about tactical execution. The absence of drone footage, again, directly attributable to the UVU police force, is a critical intelligence gap that could shed light on the shooter's movements and preparatory actions. It's a profound operational oversight.
Harpole also takes great pains to debunk internet rumors about hand and arm signals being used by the team to initiate the attack, or a microphone explosion. Angela, can you address the explosion theory from a medical and forensic standpoint?
Absolutely, Alice. The exploding microphone theory is medically and scientifically unsound. Harpole, having cut Charlie's shirt off and observed the wound directly, stated there was no flash, no charring, no burn marks, nor any indication of an explosion. Explosions leave distinct forensic evidence: heat, blast trauma, fragments, and combustion residue. A projectile from a microphone on a loose shirt, precisely hitting the carotid artery while physically moving, defies the laws of probability and physics. It would require an impossible level of accuracy for an improvised explosive device of that nature. The absence of these telltale signs, as observed by Harpole, definitively rules out an explosion as the cause of death.
And on the hand signals, Alice, Harpole's team operating as a bubble around Charlie Kirk would prioritize direct communication or pre-arranged drills, not ambiguous hand signals visible to a wider audience. Hand signals are typically for specialist units like sniper teams, operating from a distance, or specific movement commands in close quarters. To suggest they were covered signals for assassination is absurd and misrepresents operational security protocols. His explanation that they use clear, definitive gestures like "come here" or "two people here" when absolutely necessary, rather than complex, hidden signals, is exactly correct.
Harpole describes his immediate response after the shot. Recognizing the gunfire, diving on Charlie, and attempting to staunch the bleeding from a carotid artery wound. Angela, can you walk us through the medical gravity of such a wound and Harpole's actions?
The carotid artery is a major vessel supplying blood to the brain. A direct hit is catastrophic and usually fatal very quickly. Harpole's immediate response, recognizing the bullet slap, witnessing doll's eyes, which are an indication of brain death or severe neurological damage, and immediately applying direct pressure to the wound, was precisely what's taught in combat casualty care. His rapid packing of 36 feet of dressing and hemostatic gauze, even while on his knees in a moving vehicle with the door open, is a testament to his training under extreme duress. The objective here is pack, pressure, pray, because a tourniquet is impossible on the neck, and stopping the bleeding is the primary concern, even if the prognosis is dire. The swift exfiltration, within 15 to 16 seconds of the shot, to the nearest hospital, a level 3 trauma center, was also the correct tactical medical decision to get him to higher care, despite the logistical challenges.
Harpole strongly refutes the no autopsy rumor, stating he personally asked for one and that the doctor confirmed the bullet hit and fragmented on the C6 vertebrae. Charles, how crucial is the autopsy report in clarifying the facts?
The autopsy report is the definitive forensic account of the injury and cause of death. Its existence immediately debunks the no autopsy conspiracy. The detail Harpole recounts, the bullet hitting and fragmenting on the C6, cervical vertebrae 6, provides crucial physical evidence that contradicts explosion theories and confirms a projectile. The continued withholding of this information from the public, as Harpole highlights, only fuels distrust and irresponsible speculation. Transparency, even within legal constraints, is vital to preserving public faith in institutions.
Speaking of transparency, Harpole repeatedly calls for the release of information, particularly regarding the shooter, Tyler Robinson, and the controversial paving over of the crime scene. Charles, how damaging is this lack of transparency from the authorities?
It's incredibly damaging, Alice, bordering on negligence from a public trust perspective. The immediate paving over of the crime scene raises significant questions about potential evidence being lost or intentionally obscured, regardless of intent. Harpole's call for a Freedom of Information request for the school's plans to do so is entirely justified. Furthermore, withholding details about Tyler Robinson's background, motives, potential accomplices, or the rifle's status, especially the bizarre claim of it being disassembled and reassembled with a flathead screwdriver, only allows conspiratorial narratives to flourish. The FBI must strike a balance between preserving trial integrity and providing sufficient verifiable information to the public to prevent widespread misinformation and protect those falsely accused, like Harpole's team. They're suffering from doxing and threats, as a direct result of this institutional silence, is unacceptable.
Finally, Charles, what's your final takeaway from this interview?
My final takeaway, Alice, is one of immense frustration. Harpole's account highlights both the exemplary professionalism and dedication of his security team and the profound institutional failures and public misinformation that compounded this tragedy. The team's operational readiness and personal sacrifice are undeniable. However, the lack of transparency from local authorities regarding the crime scene, the shooter's profile, and the autopsy details has allowed a climate of suspicion to fester, leading to morally reprehensible attacks on innocent victims. It underscores a critical need for accountability, not just from those who spread lies, but from the institutions that withhold truth, thereby eroding the very trust they are meant to uphold.
My final thoughts echo Charles's. Harpole's actions, from immediate medical intervention on the scene to advocating for an autopsy, were professionally sound and deeply human. The detailed account of wound management and the description of the bullet's path inside the body clarify much of the medical speculation. It's a tragedy compounded by misinformation, and the medical facts, when finally released, will be critical in providing closure and dispelling the baseless rumors that continue to cause immense suffering to those closest to Charlie Kirk.
That's all for today. A big thank you to our guest researcher, David Morgan, for providing our topic. We should wait for more details before a rush to judgment over this Harpole interview.
Never asked for much, just a place in the choir, and a world that still knew right from a liar. When good men die, the world goes awry. The stars lose their place in the sky. The truth gets sold for $1 in pride, and the future is changed by a terrible lie.